Hello and welcome to Design Training Module number 4 for Capture. In 1 through 3, we learned about the frames and tiles and the electrical. So basically, you have the backbone of the Capture frame and tile system. In Module 4 here, we're going to talk about all the components and basically all the touch and feel tools that you're going to have and specify for. So again, we're going to give you kind of the intro to the parts and pieces that are at your disposal. So again, work surfaces, overhead storage, under desk storage, and again, just some nice ancillary pieces to kind of outfit the station itself. And again, this is the product knowledge one. Sherry in Module 5 will go through the specific planning guidelines. So again, you'll hear it in Module 5 quite a few times. Okay, so again, the objectives, just kind of give you the nice introduction of what's out there, the options that are available for you from everything that's going to be attached to the frame itself, the surfaces, the storage, and again, how the storage underneath the surfaces all works together. So again, looking at this nice little pretty picture, we're going to basically look at all the parts and pieces that end user is going to be touching and working with and through. So starting right off, let's go with the work surface, because I know you're taking notes and writing on one of those right now. So with Capture and all of our systems work surfaces, they are all a nominal 1 1/4 inch thick, and they will all have HPL tops. Again, that's just kind of that quality and durability that's built in, that Trendway is very much known for. And again, from a very standard perspective, the standard height of a sitting height work surface is going to be 29 inches, and that is very much the target height of Capture. We do have a couple inches higher and lower than that to accommodate the taller and shorter worker, but again, from a consistency standpoint and all of our installation instructions, we will target that 29-inch high height. From work surfaces specifically, I'm going to ask you a question. What's our best-selling work surface? Shape. You're right, a rectangle, so that's why it gets its own slide right here. Again, it comes in a couple different depths. Your standard 24 and 30 is going to be your go-tos, and again, you see all the widths there. So again, going up to 96 inches wide, it can very much span multiple frames themselves. All right, so with the rectangles themselves, we have a very standard rectangle work surface with no flair or no pizzazz or anything extra to it. We do have a rectangle with reinforcement bars. That's kind of the fourth bullet down, that CRWTHS, and that gives you the ability to have the Capture U legs on either end and support it that way, or if it's coming off of a surface perpendicular, as the diagram and example on the right show. The other thing that we offer with the rectangle surfaces is that you see that we have a 1-inch gap along the back edge of the work surface, so it has kind of that built-in grommet. So you have a nice clean surface, but still have enough space between the back edge of the surface and the panel, so you can get your cords down beneath it. If you have two rectangles coming together to make a corner like you see in the lower left diagram, that 1-inch gap will be consistent. So again, this rectangle surface is sized a little different, so again, it has that consistent gap all the way around. So for your customers with that very design and particular eye, all your gapping and consistent will be consistent all the way around, just like the trim with the frame itself. Now, if we want to venture outside of those regular rectangles, we do have a myriad of other shapes and sizes available. And again, the planning guidelines are going to be gone over in a little bit more detail with Sherry, and is also in the price book itself. But again, a quick reminder, we do have the 120-degree surfaces because, again, Capture can be done in 120-degree applications. The cousin of the work surface are the countertops. So again, whether you're going to have a reception station built into the panel system itself, or you want kind of a little transaction top between worker to worker, the countertops are a nice option to utilize. Again, shape-wise, rectangle, bow, radius, and right angle, depending on the layout and the need and desire. It basically is the same construction as the work surface itself. So again, the same HPL construction, same thickness. Couple fun bullet points on the bottom there just to make sure you were aware. They cannot be placed on top of a glass stacker. Again, that's just how it attaches into the frame, and because of that connection, it actually goes kind of inside the frame and sits right on top of the frame, so it doesn't need a top cap. So again, that can also be a little bit of a cost savings, and you're not going to lose anything from the visual. So again, a nice reminder when you're utilizing countertops, no top caps for the frame. All right, so when you talk about work surfaces and things to utilize within the station itself, height adjustability is something that is very much needed and on point. So our express height adjustable tables are our less expensive version of adjustable height tables, and basically these are very nice. They're always going to be electric, and you have a lot of flexibility within the base, and we talked a little bit about that. If you're utilizing the freestanding screen foot, that base can telescope, so you're not going to run into any supports, and you have a little bit more freedom. Or if you utilize bench height storage, which we'll talk about in a second, you can shorten the width of the base so you can keep the same top, and again, it's just easier from an installation perspective. The adjustment range on this is actually very, very nice. I am not overly tall, but I appreciate the extra height of the range of the height adjustment. And we have the control pad that can be your standard up and down or the programmable, and again, it is going to be a steel base. It is going to come in what we call a gunmetal color. It is kind of a cross between our platinum and gray color, so again, it can morph with just about any layout, and again, you also have the shadows of the top of the surface, so again, from a color match perspective, you're not going to be missing anything. The other nice thing about the express height adjustable table is that it's available with an HPL top or a thermofuse top, depending on what system you're going to be using it with. With Capture, you're going to use that HPL, and it does have 120-degree corners, so you can work that into the layout as well. The for adjustability height adjustable tables, this gives you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to types of height adjustment and also colors. So the advantage with the the for adjustability height adjustable table is that you can get the base in any trim color to match our standard base colors. So again, if you have a designer white layout, you can get this base in designer white and have everything coordinate beautifully. The other advantage is that if you want a crank, so you know if someone's just going to use a small amount of height adjustability, the crank is a nice cost-effective option that is there for you. And then you also have the BIFMA height adjustable range that is available with the for adjustability height adjustable table. So again, that goes all the way down to 21 inches high, but again, if you're dealing with a customer who has to follow that BIFMA range, we can very much do that with this height adjustable table. With work surfaces, you're going to have to support them. So the nice thing about these supports is that they are specified separately. It's another step in your world, but again, that gives you the ultimate in design flexibility. For instance, if you're going to span two frames with one work surface, you have the ability and you have to pick and choose the correct supports for that. And that is why we do it this way. So taking a nice quick snapshot of all the work surfaces supports that are available to you. Your cantilevers, I think, are pretty straightforward. They're going to attach into the frame. We do have handed, right hand, left hand, and also shared. So if you have two surfaces coming together, you utilize a shared one, and that will support the edge of both of those surfaces. Your end panels, P legs, and U legs are kind of your end of run supports. So those all attach into the frame and allow you to support that surface at the end, and again, depending on your height of the frame and your overhead storage, you actually can get away without a return panel and just utilize that end panel P leg and U leg. The brackets up in the top, number 3 is going to be for your back corner. So again, if you have a corner work surface, you're always going to need a bracket in the back. And again, in that picture, you actually can support the end of a work surface with the brackets, assuming everything else within the planning guidelines are good. The post leg, again, is another option that's for the conference end and also used in conjunction with the bracket that can be used in place of an end panel P leg or U leg. And then you have the bench support, and basically that attaches to a laminate bench height credenza, and that actually supports the end of the surface. So again, it gives it kind of that floating look. The flush support plates are used in conjunction when you have two surfaces coming together. The most common occurrence is where you have two rectangles coming together, not at a panel seam. That kind of bridges the gap and makes sure that everything is supported structurally all the way through. And again, here are some of those pictures kind of in real life. You have the U-legs over on the left with a blade surface. So again, that's kind of supporting the end. You can actually also attach that into the end of the panel, very similar to what you see with the P-leg in picture number 2. The post leg, like I said, is with that conference end piece. And again, the bench height storage support is again attached to the laminate storage and attaches or supports the end of that surface. So we kind of talked about work surfaces and how to support those. Now we're going to shift gears and talk about overhead components. We all know that the move to shorter panels are very evident and very much real life. But again, if somebody does want your traditional 66-inch high panel frame with a flipper door, we can very much do that with our capture system. With capture, we actually have both laminate and steel overheads. First up, we're going to tackle the laminate versions. All right, so we have a lot of options available to you. We have your normal shelves. We have some cubby units underneath that. We have some sliding door units, both with a laminate sliding door and an acrylic sliding door. We have kind of the cabinet unit door, which I call the cabinet door, which is the dual hinge doors. And then we also have the traditional flipper doors. All these will attach to either they come in two heights, an 8-inch height and a 16-inch height. Basically, the 8-inch height can attach to a 50-inch high frame or taller. A 16-inch high unit attaches to a 58-inch frame or a 66-inch high frame. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in Module 5. The other option that we have within our laminate statement of line are actually top-mounted units. These are actually yin-yang units, so half the unit will be accessed on one side of the panel. The other half will be accessed on the other side of the panel. This is a nice option to add height to a panel system without adding extra frames and a storage unit on both sides. So it's a little bit of a cost savings built in, and it gives a nice little look. And again, if looking at those examples and those pictures, it gives a nice little design flair as well. As far as the options go, again, very similar as far as the shelves, open cubbies, and then the sliding units. No hinge doors or flipper doors here, but again, it gives you that closed-off privacy with either the acrylic or laminate sliding doors available to you. Moving right along, the metal overhead storage, we have a couple different variations of that. Again, same concerns or rules go as far as the heights and attaching to the frames themselves. The nice thing about capture from a steel flipper door perspective is we have both the over-the-top storing door and the under-the-top storing door. So again, depending whether you're talking to a facilities manager who wants to make sure that the top of all the panel runs are clean, you can utilize the over-the-top, so you can't put plants or books on top. But again, if you're talking to the accounting side of the business, you can actually get two pieces of filing and storage in one with the door that stores under the top, because that top is actually BIFMA rated to be a true shelf. Again, all these do have the optional quarterback option, which gives you kind of that protection along the back edge so that your binders and paper won't go through and hit the tiles behind them, so you have that nice look and the consistency if there is ever reconfiguration down the road. And then again, from the shelf perspective, we do again have the single or the half height and the full height shelves that are available. And again, that is all very determinant as far as the look, the visual, and the height of the frame that you are working with. The other wrinkle or flare that we have is actually the designer shelf with our capture system. Sherry hit on in the other module that there needs to be a 16-inch tile behind the shelf, and that basically is just how that shelf attaches. But again, it gives you a very open aesthetic and again, a different look compared to a lot of what's out there in kind of the shelf world in systems furniture. We do again have component mounting rails. So again, when we talked in modules 1 and 2, we do have wall starter rails. If the system is actually, or the system or surface or overheads need to attach right to a building wall, we do have the ability to do that utilizing the component mounting rails. It is slotted so that the overhead and the work surface can attach. One quick fact I want to make sure I hammer home with you guys is that there are tack boards in the price book. Those are only to be used with the component mounting rail. So again, if you want that tackability, a little bit of sound absorption, and the wall to actually look just like a panel system, utilize the component mounting rails, the regular work surfaces, the regular overheads, and the wall-mounted tack boards. Again, tack board size depends on work surface and overheads, and you have that little chart there that is also in the price book as well. So, last but not least with this module is the filing and storage. What we're going to talk about and what the slides behind this one are all laminate based. So if you look into the Capture price book or in the design folders in the software, you're going to see Capture storage, and all that is going to be laminate based. Okay, if your customer wants metal filing and storage, we're going to point you to the pack price book. That's going to get you all your metal or steel filing and storage. A lot of the same sizes is what you're going to look at here in the laminate, but again, just in that metal option that's there. All right, so again, when we're talking Capture filing and storage, it's going to be a lot of credenzas, bench height units, hence the bench height supports. We have the towers, some freestanding under desk supports. We have some lockers mixed in. The construction's always going to be that thermofused laminate, and then again, you can have that matching edge that's available, and it's going to be obviously all of our standard laminates, so everything coordinates together. So kind of a quick snapshot of the statement of line here is kind of the credenza section. These are going to be not quite full height, so these can still slide underneath the desk if desired, but it's going to be a little bit taller than your bench height storage. Your bench height storage is going to be that 21 inches high, and that's going to be great. You can put a cushion on top, so it can be a guest seat in one, and like we talked about, it can support the end of the surface with that bench height support. We do have freestanding storage as well. This is meant to be completely freestanding, not underneath anything, not supporting anything. Basically a lateral, ped, and double door as you see there. The storage towers, again, as you see, we have a lot of storage towers that are there, combination units where you have laterals, double doors, bookcases, kind of all in one unit. We do have just regular double door storages and wardrobes. And again, we also do have the towers, or basically lockers or wardrobes, over on the right-hand side. So again, if you do have a very open plan office, you can put a bank of lockers against a wall, so everyone going to that space has their own location to put their hats, boots, and gloves. And again, we do have the wardrobe towers, and again, you see different heights, and all that coordinates to the heights of the frames that it's going to go into from a panel layout standpoint. And then the under desk supports, again, laterals, peds, and the double doors. These actually have a 1-inch riser that again is designed to support that edge of surface. It is basically a 1-inch change of height as opposed to the 8-inch change of height with the bench height credenzas. All right, and hey, look at that. I told you that we do have metal filing and storage, and I did not lie to you. So again, the pack version is also on display there, a comprehensive offering, and again, that is going to be all steel based. And again, it integrates perfectly with Capture. And again, if you are specifying steel filing and storage, we are always going to point you to the pack line of that. The other neat thing about that is we do have a custom color match. A small fee applies for that, but we also do have a broad industry popular competitive color program that basically does not have any limitation as far as order quantity or lead time penalty. So it's a great way to keep your foot in the door with a previous customer, but also be able to transition them smoothly into Capture. So, as you've seen on all the other modules, if you do have any other specific questions related to the design, please feel free to reach out to our design studio via phone or email. And as always, we're going to point you to Trendway for all the latest price books, idea starters, surface materials, anything that goes into coordinating the perfect layout and office. All the tools are right there at your disposal. And again, additional resources like you've seen the other ones, these are all linked up. So again, if you have specific design questions with that specific software, please reach out and get those answered directly from the manufacturer themselves. And with that, you are done with Module 4. You are ready to go to the deep dive into the specification of what we talked about here in Module 5. See you then.